Hi everyone, let's make a mini replica washboard. Here I'm going to use one of the planks out of the Dollar Tree package. I initially was going to use 3 of the large paint stir sticks, but only ended up using 2. The metal plaque from the Dollar Tree. And I used 3 of the 1 gallon paint stir sticks instead of the 3rd long one. So here I'm measuring out just to get an idea and figure out where I need to cut my long pieces, my long sticks. I forgot that I needed one more stick in there, so I'm going to show you 14 inches, but it was in fact 15. After I put the other stick in, that made it 15 inches. So I'm going to cut the 2 long ones down to 15 inches. This was fairly easy to make. Here I'm just going to go cut them on my scroll saw, but you can use your miter shears or whatever kind of saw, or however you do it. Score it with a knife. It's a lot easier for me to use the scroll saw. So I'm going to use the Crafter's Closet glue adhesive, or whatever you call it, adhesive, and I'm using the grids on my mat to make sure everything is even. Then I'm going to mark the stir sticks with a pencil so that when I put them back on there, I know where they're at after I add the glue. I know where to put them. Now, I barely wanted to cover those holes in the metal plaque, and I went a little bit too far out on this side, but it still turns out fine. So anyways, like I said, I'm using the grid on my mat to make sure that I'm even. And have everything up against the lines on the grid. So I get these down. Now that leaves the small sticks, and what I did was I measured where I needed them to be. They're about 5 inches, which is what it ended up being, but it would depend on how far in your long paint stir sticks are to your for your plaque there, for your metal. So they ended up being just a little shy of 5 inches. Now my suggestion is to cut them just slightly bigger, and I mean even like a 1/16 of an inch bigger, so it's snug when you put them in there. I had one that was snug and one that was, or 2 that were loose, and they just kind of fell in there. So at first now I'm just barely covering the gaps, barely. So I just make it so that you can't see light through it, just barely. Now you'll see me using wood glue for the first couple pieces, but it just pushes it off. So I did struggle with the wood glue a little bit. My cap came completely off, and then it was plugged up inside, yada yada. And then when I finally do get it, I realized that all I was doing was just pushing it, just pushing it out. And I didn't want, since it's not painted yet, I didn't want to have that glue on the outside. So what I did was I took a heck of a lot of hot glue, and then I realized that I put that piece in upside down. So you want the numbers on the when it's upside down like that, you want the numbers on the paint stir sticks to be up facing you, because that's the back side. So I did the whole thing again, and then I just used a ton of hot glue to hold that piece in place. And then, like I said, I'm using the grid on my mat to make sure that they are even Steven. So I'm just going to use a lot of hot glue. So the back side of this doesn't look great, but the front side turns out really awesome. I absolutely love it. Now I didn't cut the wood plaque down. I left it long, which works out really good. It looks framed in at the end of it. you know, when we get it all done, it looks like it's framed in like it's supposed to. Now I've wanted to buy one of these washboards for a long time, but when you see them, they're so darned expensive. Even the replicas are expensive. So I decided just to go ahead and make my own. I googled pictures of washboards, and I went on the Cricut. Oh, here, I'm going to tape off, you know, because it's time to paint it. But I went on Google. Oh, and I made a stencil on Cricut. I wanted it to say 5 cents, but the best I could find was 25 cents. So I just made a sign that said wash 25 cents. Okay, so I'm using, I think it's Gray Fox is the color, and I'm going to paint the whole thing, all the side pieces, you know, the ups, the downs, everything. Then I'm taking a candle, one of those little tea light candles, and I'm rubbing that all over, you know, of course after the gray paint dried. I'm rubbing that all over, paying close attention to the edges, and that candle kind of melt like it was melted. I don't know. It left big chunks of wax everywhere, so I'm kind of wiping that off as I go. Then we're going to cover that with really thick, not really thick, but a thick coating of white chalk paint. Any kind of paint, you know, you can do this however you want. But of course, since we did the candle wax, that's going to show the gray underneath, which is what we want. You know, we want it to look aged. And I think the candle method is about the best way. Now this here, my paint wasn't dry enough yet, my top coat, and plus I'm using some, you know, the painter's tape from the Dollar Tree, which is not very good. It's not good tape. I bought some good stuff at a thrift store. But anyway, just showing you what it looks like there. Now we're going to take some duct tape, and we're going to adhere that really, really well. And then we're going to rip it off. And it pulls off all the paint that was on top of the candle wax. Does a really good job. I do like the scraper better, but using both of them made this thing look great. This really worked wonders for the edges and the corners, using my scraper like this. So just scrape where you know you had candle wax. Quite a bit came up. So the tape method wasn't the best, but the scraping and the tape method worked really great. So here, like I said, I just put wash with, you know, the text in the Cricut, and then I found a little thing that said 25 cents and used that, put the wash on top of that. I wanted it to say 5 cents, but I could not find 5 cents to save my butt. I spent a lot of time on that Cricut. So there's what it looks like. Now, I lost the footage of me Mod Podging the words down, but you do want to do that. And then I'm deciding how I want to hang it. Do I want the, you know, like a rope look? Do I want some, you know, twine to come up the top? And I decided on not. I decided on just putting it there so that you can't even see it. And here I'm still trying to decide, how do I want to hang this? And you know, you can prop it up as well. It does not have to hang. So it is magnetic. So I got some, I don't know if they're Dollar Tree magnets, but they have the sticky back on them. I know the ones I'd bought before didn't have that sticky back on them. So anyways, I just used a double piece of twine, glued that down, and then put a piece of tape over top of it just to secure it a little bit more. And then I took a couple of roses that I had gotten from the Dollar Tree, cut the the bloom off and then stuck them to the magnets. You don't even have to use the sticky part of the magnet. You can just glue it right to that piece of paper that's on there. Here, I took that piece of paper off. It doesn't even matter. The hot glue is what matters. So then, you can use this as a memo board, or, to put pictures on or whatever. So I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll come back, and I hope you have a great day.